Positive Spin. Presenting positive, innovative, and solution-oriented news from around the world.
Hi, I'm Ed Begley Jr., inviting you to join us for the Earth Day global broadcast April 22nd on Peace
On today's
Channel.
program, we'll feature a video message from Ed Begley Jr. and Rochelle Begley promoting the annual Earth Day global broadcast.
Was recently declared a conservation province, and
we'll see climate action success stories from 2020.
Communities.
We as young people should be included more and should be given a lot of chances.
Following that, we'll hear from youth at the forefront of the environmental movement.
We must make sure that everything we do is for climate equity.
According to analysis conducted by the EPA and HUD, 70% of the country's
Then, we'll learn how environmental racism is affecting communities of color in the United States. And we'll see how a 40,000-year tribe of hunters and gatherers are gaining their land rights in Tanzania. After that, we'll learn how UNICEF is working with the Afghan government to teach young girls and other children at risk during the COVID pandemic.
The project will establish a trailhead and visitor amenities.
And we'll visit a redwood forest, where a program is being launched to welcome more diversity so more people can experience the world's largest and longest living trees. Finally, we'll hear an innovative interpretation of the anthem America the Beautiful by singer, songwriter, and instrumentalist Mattt Venuti. On today's program, we celebrate Earth Day. We begin with a video featuring Ed Begley Jr. and Rochelle Begley, promoting the annual Earth Day global broadcast produced by the Peace Channel and Unity Foundation. We invite everyone to view the broadcast, now streaming on the Peace Channel at www.peacechannel.com.
Hi, I'm Ed Begley Jr., inviting you to join us for the Earth Day global broadcast April 22nd on peacechannel.com.
And I'm Rochelle Carson Begley. All day this Earth Day, Ed and I will be bringing you great music, news, and views about what each of us can do to take care of this planet we call home.
On April 22nd, billions of people will take part in Earth Day, the world's largest celebration. We hope you'll join us for the Earth Day global broadcast at peacechannel.com.
In 2020, the world celebrated the 50th anniversary of Earth Day. It was a year of expanded climate action. Let's see some of the success stories of 2020.
Fires are burning.
The world's largest rainforest.
Ice is melting far more quickly.
1 million plant and animal species are on the verge of extinction.
We have come here to let you know that change is coming, whether you like it or not.
West Papua was recently declared a conservation province, and we are right there to help support the government and the people and the communities.
So here is Costa Rica's challenge, eliminating emissions by 2050, and that's complete decarbonization of our economy.
There's a new force of nature at hand. They are the young people whom, frankly, we have failed, who are angry, who are organized, who are capable of making a difference.
Youth are at the forefront of the climate action movement. Their passion and commitment is inspiring people around the world to take action to preserve our environment.
I believe we should look for a call to action, and once we see the action, hope will inevitably come.
My life or our lives as human beings are 100% dependent on nature.
It's crazy how much it affects us, but how much people don't recognize it and realize what it actually is. Human beings are the biggest causes of climate change. But the good thing is there's a solution, and we are part of the solution. There are a number of solutions to climate change, and we don't need to research them. They're already there. A lot of people just think we need to plant trees, but it just doesn't end there. We need to focus on change of mindset, change of mentality. If we are to start, if we are to mitigate the effects of climate change, if we are to end global warming, then we must start young. We must focus on adding curricula that is going to benefit them and the environment.
If we work together as a common family, just one family, in combating and fighting against this climate change and putting in measures, then we're likely to protect our future.
Governments need to definitely increase trial allocations towards areas, sectors, ideas, ideals that are meant to tackle climate change.
We as young people should be included more and should be given a lot of chances to actually articulate our issues with regard to climate change.
We must make sure that everything we do is for climate equity and climate justice.
They need to be aware of all the affairs that are actually happening. So we need to create platforms for them so that they get to be exposed and also understand that they are also partners in driving sustainable development.
Because that's how we'll know we matter. My message to all the children, all the youth, all the adults, all the elderly, even the toddlers is you can be the change. You can be the change the world is looking for right now.
Because at the end of the day, we have a future to protect. And we've got an environment to protect as well.
Climate change is an issue. In fact, it's a defining issue. And we're living at a defining moment. And we are the ones who will define how we created this revolution and how we put an end to climate change. My name is Yande Banda and I'm 15 years old.
Let's get to be responsible and stand up.
In the following segment, we'll learn how environmental racism is disproportionately affecting communities of color in the United States.
I grew up in a small town in Iowa called Waterloo. I was adopted by my grandparents. They were born and raised on the east side of Waterloo. My grandparents wanted to purchase a new home on the west side of Waterloo. They were told no, because they were black. And indeed, even by the late 1960s, 95% of black residents in Waterloo lived on the east side. We have heard that the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. After more than 80 years in housing, we have not yet reached the turning point of that arc. When you have communities intentionally divided by race, when black and brown families live in poor and substandard homes, when the school systems in black and brown communities are underfunded and run down, when the land in these communities are undervalued, when your built environment treats you as less than, it is inevitable that companies and government move to locate dirty power facilities, toxic waste sites, and dangerous infrastructure projects to these areas, because powerful entities have less regard for the lives of black people, for the lives of brown people, for the lives of poor people, and for the lives of those who are less educated, because these people lack political power, and the majority in society have been treating minorities in society as less than for generations without much consequence. So why stop now? There are studies by the NAACP and others that cite that around 2/3 of black people in America live within 30 miles of a coal-fired power plant, notably higher than white populations. EPA estimates that at least 1.5 million minorities live dangerously close to coal ash surface impoundments. According to analysis conducted by the EPA and HUD, 70% of the country's contaminated waste sites or Superfund sites are located near low-income housing. 70%. This is environmental racism. These are deliberate acts, either intentionally targeting or, equally problematic, disproportionately impacting communities based on race. That's racism. I'm sorry if hearing the word racism makes you uncomfortable, but imagine being on the receiving end of it. We must demand better than this. We cannot begin to resolve the inequities in our environment at large if we do not tackle the underlying racial disparities that exist in our communities, in housing, in employment, and within our political structures. There is an old saying which reads that the only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. Let's continue our work to clean up our environment with that renewed focus on communities who need it most.
The 40,000-year Hadzabe people of Tanzania are one of the last remaining hunters and gatherers on Earth. After gaining their legal rights over their ancestral lands, there's been a decline in deforestation and an increase in the population of endangered animals.
Kwangu haki ya ardhi ina muhimu sana kuliko vitu vyote, kwa sababu haki ya ardhi, upatikanaji na mahitaji yote ya maisha yangu ipo ndani ya ardhi. Kitu moja ambao inanifurahisha mimi katika maisha yangu yote ni utunzaji wa misitu. Siku yangu ya kawaida mimi inapokucha asubuhi, ninakwenda kuwinda. Huku ninaweza kukosa kuwinda, nalina asali, na huku nakula matunda, na huku naweza kufunga mbuyu kuwaletea familia kwa wakati moja. Mabadiliko kwa hewa ya ukaa ni mkubwa sana kwangu Mwadzabe, kwa sababu zamani nilikuwa sijui kuweza kulinda pori, lakini sasa hivi mabadiliko imeleta hewa ya ukaa, tunajua kulinda pori, tunaenda doria na kuangalia ukataji wa miti na kuangalia uharibifu wa pori. Mimi ninatamani baada ya uzazi yangu kupita, watoto watabaki. Mimi natamani kwanza kabisa, kabla sisi hatujapita, tunataka tutunze hii pori ili digidigi isipotee na hata wanyama wengine wasipotee, ili watoto wangu mimi ninapita waje waikute kama historia ya Hadzabe katika pori lao.
From Tanzania, the Yaida Valley Project.
In Afghanistan, students have been coping with the triple threat of conflict, COVID-19, and school closures. Most of the roughly 3.7 million children now out of school are young girls. UNICEF is working with the government to reach these vulnerable girls and other children who are now out of school.
به نام خدا، لطیفه شفایی هستم، یکی از اساتید لیسه ذکور مرکز در ولایت بامیان که مدت 11 سال میشه به اسم معلم ایفای وظیفه میکنم. و شخص خودم کوشش کردیم که در حد توان خود مشکل شاگردان را از طریق تلفن حل کنم، مخصوصا شاگردایی که آمادگی کنکور داشتن و در قریه ما اطفالی که زندگی میکردن اونا رو به صورت خصوصی در منزل ما آموزش دادیم. به دلیل دور بودن طولانی مدت شاگردان از مکتب و دور شدن از درس‌هایشان، در شاگردان دچار نوعی افسردگی و سردرگمی شدند، مخصوصا در دوران قرنطینه و بیماری کرونا که تعداد از شاگردان متاسفانه عزیزای خود از دست دادن و خودشان دچار بیماری شدن. و همین مسئله باعث شده که اینا فعلا راحت نتونن در درس‌های خود رسیدگی بکنن و این مشکل کمی براشون جدی‌تر شده. در حد امکان من خودم کوشش میکنم فضای صنف صمیمی‌تر بکنم، حجم درس کم کردیم و در فضای صنف طوری ایجاد میکنم که بین شاگرد و استاد رابطه دوستانه برقرار باشه و کار فعالیت‌های صنفی و کار گروهی رو زیادتر انجام میتیم برشه. کرونا دنیا رو به بحران برده، مخصوصا کشور عزیز ما افغانستان را که به دلیل بحران‌های سیاسی و امنیتی این بحران را تشدید کرده. به همین دلیل اطفال عزیز ما از نعمت درس خواندن محروم شدند، مخصوصا دختران. پس بیایید دست یاری به سوی آنها دراز نماییم و اطفال عزیزمان را به سوی علم و دانش سوق دهیم، زیرا تنها راه رسیدن به صلح و آرامش درس و تعلیم و تربیت می باشد.
California's parks are blessed with towering old-growth redwood trees, the world's oldest and largest trees. The parks are now in the process of creating additional gathering areas and more inclusive programs to welcome more low-income and underserved communities to experience the wonder and majesty of these environmental treasures.
When people arrive at Giant Sequoia and Coast Redwood parks, the experience really changes them. The looks on their faces tell it all. They're staring up at those trees with huge smiles, looks of awe, and I've seen this, tears, literally tears coming out of their eyes. And there are very few things in the world that can immediately evoke that type of emotion. And when I look at people in the parks, I have to say that I notice they don't always reflect the full diversity of California and our country. Most of our redwood parks were built decades ago, and since then our population has grown dramatically and it's changed in its composition. The old parks were designed to serve far fewer visitors than we're seeing today. And honestly, they were designed with the culture and interests of white folks in mind. That's why with our Connect programming, we're focused on making sure that all communities are able to experience these really special places. So with our parks partners, we're developing increased park capacity. We're improving and expanding the existing recreational infrastructure, and we're developing new redwood destinations throughout the ranges.
As we saw with the extensive fire damage at Big Basin Redwood State Park and other redwood parks in 2020, we know that we need to incorporate fire resilience and our long-held approaches to forest restoration in all of our park work. Speaking of Big Basin Redwood State Park, we're partnering with the park to transform the outdated Rancho del Oso Ranger Station at the west end of the park into a new welcome center with an outdoor classroom and gathering area. To the north, at Redwood National Estate Parks, we're creating a new visitor gateway at the south end of the parks. The project will establish a trailhead and visitor amenities, expanding a section of the California Coastal Trail to link into the incredible network of existing trails. We acquired Harold Richardson Redwoods Reserve in 2018 with the intention of opening it to the public as the first new old-growth redwood park in a generation. High in the Sierra at Alder Creek, Save the Redwoods League is moving to open the doors on an awe-inspiring grove of giant sequoia that will allow adventurers to walk among the wildflowers and hundreds of ancient sequoia.
We're also really thinking about our programming when these projects are done and how we can partner both with the parks and our communities in order to deliver more inclusive experiences so that all people feel welcome and inspired to visit these special places.
So right before the COVID-19 shutdown, we found out that about 2/3 of the 4th grade students participating in our Redwood program, which serves low-income Oakland students, had never been to a redwood forest before, even though it is right in their backyard. Our Redwood Connect grants allow us to provide park experiences for youth and their families focused on underrepresented audiences.
For me, I've always experienced nature with those that I love, and I would love to be able to see and help other families, other communities do the same. To be able to enjoy their time and build connections with their own family, strengthen their bonds, have meaningful connections.
Parks have been important to Save the Redwoods League since 1918, and I think they're going to be even more important in the next 100 years.
Join Save the Redwoods League in supporting the next generation of redwood parks.
We leave you with a new and innovative musical interpretation of the anthem America the Beautiful by multi-instrumentalist and singer-songwriter Mattt Venuti. for watching Positive Spin. This show is made possible through the generosity of the Patty and Jack Wright Foundation. Watch and subscribe to our previous episodes on YouTube. And please, like us on Facebook. Follow us on Free Speech TV, Roku, Sling, DirecTV, Dish Network, and Apple TV. I'm Bill McCarthy. Stay safe and healthy, and remember, you can create your own positive news.
Feel it in the soul.